So, Brian, your podcast, tell us about your podcast.
My podcast, FinTech Fridays. Imagine that it publishes on Fridays, and we talk about
It's
all
handy.
things FinTech. Yeah, it makes it really easy to stay on task. Yeah, we've been. I think that we've recorded 70 episodes since we launched. Usually, I'm talking to cool, vendors and service providers and tech companies kind of in the real estate mortgage space. And most times I'm actually learning about the product or the people. So it's just a, 20, 22 minute, 25 minute conversation. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been a great way for me to kind of learn about new products and companies and people and share that out. And of course it helps bring a little bit of awareness to FinLocker as well.
Sure. Excellent. And people can find that on.
So we are on, right now we're published by a platform called BHB TV. It's a Canadian, it's a North American real estate kind of focused media platform. But there's a YouTube channel. So if you go to FinLocker on YouTube, we have a couple playlists. The podcast playlist is there.
Excellent.
And then if you want to really be in tune, follow FinTech Fridays podcast on LinkedIn, and you'll see all the updates every Friday that come out.
Excellent. Well, I watched a couple of them in there, and they're fantastic. Listen to them anyway. So,
oh, thanks.
Well done. Well done, you.
Excellent.
Well, you have joined us today for TMC Connect. We are very excited that you're here. I'm Tony Bramley, the Director of Business Development here at the Mortgage Collaborative. And with us today are our esteemed partners, FinLocker. We've got Brian View and Nick Zimmerman with us today, and they're going to be talking about how FinLocker has made originating a home loan more efficient. Just a couple of things before we get started. You are here on mute, but we do want this to be engaging. So please drop any questions or comments that you have in the chat or the Q&A, and we will be taking those at the end of the session, and then, or possibly as we transition during the session. And tomorrow there will be a follow-up email that comes out from Amy Bohr, and it will have a link to the video for this session. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop those in and we will get started. Brian?
Thanks, Tony. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having Nick and I on and for including FinLocker this week. I think a lot of folks at least a lot of people I saw in the registration have some familiarity with FinLocker. And what we thought we would do is kind of break today's session into two parts. I'm going to take the first part, which is our main product, which is our financial fitness app that's focused on, helping people become mortgage ready or engaging them early in their home ownership journey. So we'll start by giving you all some updates on some cool stuff that we've enhanced on that side of the platform. But we also have a separate product called FinVerify. FinVerify is our digital verification of income, employment, and assets. And we've spent the last probably 4 or 5 months enhancing that platform. We've just finished an integration with Ellie Mae, and Nick's going to take us through that part of the discussion after I go through the first part. So 2 parts, kind of our financial fitness leading to home ownership app, and then the FinVerify product. So with that, let me share my screen. And as Tony said, if you have questions, comments, you can drop those into the chat. No heckling. I do see some names I recognize, so no heckling is allowed. Here we go, share screen. All right, Nick, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Perfect. So what I'm going to start with is we're looking at the web experience of FinLocker, and you can see we're in a branded instance. So as a reminder, the financial fitness experience is a B2B2C white label solution. So for our enterprise clients, which are principally mortgage companies, banks, and credit unions, we do a full white label solution. I'm starting in one of our newest enhanced areas of the experience, which is our home ownership snapshot. And what I want to show you here, what we're doing, and then we'll work backwards off of this. So for most of our clients, they're using their version of FinLocker up the funnel to A, reach, and B, assist more consumers, specifically consumers who are perhaps very early in their homeownership journey. So think of first-time home buyers as a great example. So engaging, first-time home buyers 6, 12, 18, 24 months before they're really ready to buy, and using the features and the tools of the app to engage that consumer, but also help them kind of on a path towards readiness. One of the modules is what we're looking at here, which again is the My Homeownership Snapshot, is analyzing the user's data and information that's been linked into the locker, and providing some feedback and input to the user as to where they stand. So we do this through a couple different ways. We use stars. So this particular consumer is earned 1 star out of 5 so far. Stars and wrenches. Stars are good. Wrenches mean the user kind of has some work to do. So in this instance, based on the profile of our user, where they've told us the kind of their target home price, they've input their income, we've got their credit linked, and we've got some financial accounts linked. We're basically validating that they're not quite ready with cash to close. Their credit's a little bit below where the target line is. I think we default to 620 or 640 in this analysis. And then the monthly debt ratios are a bit high. So these wrenches are indicating to our user that they have some work to do. They need some improvement. And then we have this concept of an action plan that takes the user to different parts of the experience to help address those areas that they need help with, whether it's improving their credit using the credit simulator or credit compass, or using the financial widgets, the spending analysis, the budgeting, and the goal setting to either help manage down their DTI and or accelerate their saving for down payment. So the updates that we've made are kind of bringing some gamification to the experience in the form of these stars and wrenches, adding some more specific action plans for the user. In fact, our next enhancement, I think, is next week. We're going to be bringing in content into the action plan that's relevant for where the user is on this part of the journey. And then the other cool thing that just went live late last week, maybe it was early this week, they're all blending together, is this button here that says share with lender. I'm not going to click it because that would fire off an email to the loan officer who's linked to this account. But essentially from here, if the consumer user clicks this share with lender, an email is going to be sent to the loan officer that invited this consumer in the app with a snapshot of this right here that I'm hovering over. So they can quickly share their kind of status, if you will, with the loan officer. So that's one quick view. Let me show you a view of this for somebody that's got the 5 stars now. So 1 second here, I'll just make a couple quick changes in the data just to trick it over the top here. And score. So I've just made a couple of quick changes to the inputs that are now going to hopefully render this consumer ready. Let me refresh the screen here. So now you see we've got 4 stars. So you can earn up to 4 stars. So now cash to close is over the target or the goal that was set. Credit's now above our benchmark, and the ratios are within range at 25%. And you now see there's no wrenches, and our action plan has now changed. Instead of taking the consumer to the credit features and the budgeting, we now take them right to property search and the Lender Connect. Lender Connect is how the consumer can start to share their data from their app with a loan officer to pre-fill a mortgage application. So those are kind of just a quick overview of this homeownership snapshot and how we've engineered the experience to be much more guided for the user. Let's go back to the dashboard and just show you a couple other quick things on our dashboard. So we've also added this tile in the upper left for tips of the week. So these tips are centered around folks that are on a path towards mortgage readiness. So this is a tip on credit score. Here's a tip around just getting pre-approved, the importance of that. Talking about the true cost of homeownership includes property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, et cetera. So we update these tips every week, and these are meant to be helpful, but also engaging for the user when they're in the experience. And just to recap for those that are familiar with this part of the product, we're providing the user, the consumer, with several digital financial tools in the experience. The first set is built around credit. So the user has their credit score. It updates every 30 days. Credit Compass, Credit Simulator. We'll just go in and look at Credit Simulator real quickly here. Credit Simulator is going to allow a user to model a change in their score if they're to take certain actions. And I'm going to just show one action of reducing outstanding balances by $20,000 across the linked, accounts in this particular consumer's credit profile. So we're running up against the TransUnion algorithm and are going to come back and tell this user who's currently at a 751 score that reducing their balance by $20,000 is going to improve their score by, drum roll please. My Wi-Fi is acting a little funny here on this side, so let me refresh this real quick. Should have closed out all my windows before I started here. Sorry about that. Typically, it's gonna refresh the score, and I think it's like around 17 or 20 points. I'll do it one more time. A reminder: we're also this product's also a native mobile app, so you can see the score improved 27 points if this particular consumer were to take this action of reducing their outstanding balances by $20,000. The user can run an infinite number of scenarios, like what's the impact to opening a new account, getting a new loan, closing accounts. Of course, depending on which accounts get closed, the older the account that you close, the more the score is impacted. And typically that would be negative impact if it's an older account. Paying off all cards, letting accounts go into delinquent stages, all those different variables can be modeled out on the credit simulator. So the credit area of the app is a highly engaging feature. It's one of our most engaging features for consumers, especially early journey first-time home buyers. The other features that are super helpful for those early home buyers are the financial widgets. Spending analysis is looking at all spending across all linked accounts, breaking it down by the transaction. You can then look at it by different categories. These numbers are big. We have some dummy accounts that are linked in here, so they're bringing in a lot of transactions. But basically, the user links all of their financial accounts. So we'll show you that really right here across the top. So savings, checking, investment, 401k, credit cards, mortgage loans, student loans, auto loans, et cetera. Adding accounts is as simple as selecting your account. Either pick from the image here, or you can go in and just type in the name of a financial institution like Flagstar Bank. You could just pick the account you want to link. The user links that account, and then every evening the app brings in all of the transactional data, and that transactional data is what powers these widgets. So spending analysis, budgets and goals, users can set up budgets for things like auto fuel, mortgage, dining out, savings goals for saving for a new home as an example. And then our net worth widget as well, which takes all of those linked accounts and gives the user a quick view of their overall net worth, broken down by category. So banking accounts, retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, and then all of the liabilities as well. Again, all of this is run kind of automated based on the user linking to the financial accounts that they have in the locker. And then finally, the last widget I'll show you, just to kind of put a bow on it, are two widgets. We've got the loan officer I mentioned earlier is always front and center. So in this particular case, Ethan is the loan officer who invited the consumer to download the app. And now the user will always see Ethan in the app. They can contact Ethan through this button, or with a single click, go right to Ethan's calendar and schedule a meeting for a one-on-one, perhaps to review their status for approving a mortgage, et cetera. And then property is the last widget I'll show you before I take a couple of questions and hand it over to Nick. So users can track the value of their home in the app. So we bring in an estimated value, an AVM, every month. This over here to the right is the linked mortgage against this property. And so we're basically calculating the estimated available equity for this particular consumer. We have a nosy neighbor feature. You can see all the recently sold properties. And then also property search, which is also branded property search. So in this case, it's branded to our enterprise client, Art of Homeownership. And then you can search, particularly just like you do any kind of search online. You can go right down into the properties available for sale. Again, branded to the enterprise here as well. I covered a lot. I wanted to give kind of some updates on the product, hopefully help you guys better understand what we're doing on the financial fitness journey towards home ownership side of the business. Of course, anybody that wants to learn more, you can reach out to us directly and we can do a one-on-one demo. I do have a question here. Is it available for spouses to show both in one account or only a single user? So kind of a loaded question, but to the extent that two people borrow, co-borrowers or spouses have all shared joint accounts, then essentially you could have one locker kind of cover their entire picture. But the credit right now is to a single individual user. So each social security number from a credit perspective would need to have their own locker. One of our roadmap items is the ability to share a locker with a partner, a spouse, a co-borrower. And then another part of the roadmap is to actually link lockers where there's going to be co-borrowers. But for now, if the financial accounts are joint and the bank accounts are all joint, at least that aspect of it can all be in one locker. But if there's individual accounts, certainly individual credit's going to require a locker for each user. Good question. All right, let me now hand this over to Nick Zimmerman. Nick is one of our customer account managers, and he is our resident expert on our FinVerify product. This is our digital verification of income, employment, and assets. Nick, it's all yours.
Thanks, Brian. Throwing around that expert term again. Always gets me. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys. So like Brian said, we're going to look at the FinVerify product inside of Encompass today. So we're going to start off with the ordering process. We'll take a look at borrower process, and then we'll end back inside Encompass with the actions that you can take once your borrower is shared with you. So once you're inside the loan, navigate over to the services tab and then straight down to order verifications. We'll be in the My Providers tab once you're all set up. Here, you're going to see 4 different versions, but you will only see FinLocker verification services in your system. For the demo today, we'll use the dev setup. Let me hit submit. I apologize if this takes just a second. So now that this is popping up, what you'll see here is we just have the one borrower on this particular loan. It doesn't matter if you have one, if you have a regular borrower pair, or if you have multiple borrower pairs, everyone will be displayed right here. If you want to order assets and income and employment for everyone, you simply click the verification type button, or you can go through and individually pick which verifications you'd like. Once you hit submit, we're going to send off emails to the borrower and or borrowers with a link for them to come in and actually start enrolling those assets and employment. It's really that simple. That process is now complete for your ordering. We'll click over and look at the borrower side now. Once they log in, go through registration, very simple couple-step registration process. They'll go in to start enrolling their assets. So really kind of like what Brian just showed you, very simple. You can choose from one of the images, or you can search for your institution there. Once you pick out the institution you want to enroll, you'll log in just with your online credentials. We'll pop up that institution and show you all the accounts that you have enrolled there. You can enroll as many FIs or as many banks as you would like, and we'll show them all in one spot. Now, what might be a little different that you may not have seen too many times before is the employment side is also handled by the consumer. So when they hit add employment, our integration with our partner Argyle pops up, and they can come in here and actually log into either their payroll provider. So some of the big names down here, you can see if we just start typing, they can enroll in or log into any of these as well. Oh, I apologize. They can also log directly into their employer. So FinLocker, for example, will pop up. Or if they work in the gig economy, which so many people do nowadays, they can come in here and then log into any of those as well. So just like on assets, they'll use those same credentials. They'll log in, we'll pull that information out and display it right here. They can get a little synopsis of what we've pulled in. And again, if they have multiple jobs, they can enroll multiple at one time. Once they have everything enrolled, assets and employment, they simply hit continue. From here, it automatically selects all, but they can come in and pick and choose which one they send over. You'll see that any liabilities you cannot click on. So we're just taking the assets. And then same for employers. If you have multiple employers, you can select them all. And then this is actually in our dev environment, it's not here, but they have to click the consent box before they can submit. They're consenting to giving the lender 60 days worth of access to each of these credentials, or not credentials, I'm sorry, but each of these accounts and each of these employer information. They'll click submit, and all of that will push directly back into the integration. Let's hop back in over here, close this window out. We're actually going to check out a new loan. Close this. So let's look at a fully enrolled loan. So in here, once the LO has received the email letting them know their borrower has enrolled, they can come right back in to the FinLocker. Again, I apologize for the slowness. My dev side moves a little slow on me sometimes. You'll see that these have already been enrolled. We can open up into the order or the order details. And now you'll see all the assets that have been sent over. You'll see the dates that they've been refreshed to and the amounts. Same thing on the income and employment side. I'll give you a synopsis of what's come over as well. So once this initially gets pushed over, what we'll do is we'll actually create an asset report, day one certainty approved asset report, and that'll go directly into the e-folder. And your verification of employment and income will also be pushed directly into your e-folder. One thing that you can do, if you would like, is we do have this push to Encompass built for the asset piece. And essentially what's going to happen is we'll take a look at anything that's already in the VOD section of Encompass, and we'll tell you what we're going to push over. So these are the verified accounts by FinLocker. These will automatically push if you select it. This is what's already in the VOD section. So you can come in here and choose to keep any of these, or if you leave them unchecked, we'll take them away and just populate the FinLocker verified information. You hit send update, and we'll write all that information directly to Encompass for you. Cancel out of that. So now that you've got your initial batch, we're down the road a little bit, we're getting ready to close, and you need to pull the updated verifications. Very simple to do. You simply come back into the FinVerify product, and you can click on either these action buttons to refresh or disqualify, or you can refresh all of these accounts at one time. And so you can take this to the latest date, which is already done for me. Or if there's a certain date you want to move this to, you can simply click the calendar and choose that date. And you can also move the date from backwards in time if you should need more information. You choose on each account how you want to refresh and where you want to refresh to. Simply hit refresh selected. On the back end, we'll create another report and we'll push that directly into Encompass for you. Now let's close out of this and check out the e-folder. There we go. So here in the e-folder, obviously in our test account, we don't have much in here, but you'll see our verifications have pushed over. So the first one is our income and employment report. drop it right in for you. It's sitting in there that you can move around, place wherever you would like. Also have that asset report. One thing to note on this asset report is this report ID. This number right here is what will be used for day one certainty. So that number automatically pushes over to the GSE additional provider data form. And in that form, there's a FinLocker field where we'll populate that number for you. So if you do run DU, you will be eligible for those credits. I know that was very quick, but honestly, guys, that's all there is to the FinVerify product. It's a very straightforward, easy to use product. If there are any questions, I'd love to field those.
A few.
Okay.
I've been answering them on the fly. So
okay, great.
As far as integrations go, there's been a couple questions on that. So we're currently integrated with Encompass only. And so that's kind of the current state. You can use our FinVerify product as a standalone from point of sale LOS and through our admin portal. It send a link to your borrower where they would just do everything that Nick showed you. Then you would get the output of that in our admin portal and can drag it, drop it, into your point of sale. So let's see here. We can use the income and asset file numbers, report IDs to get the, yes. So today, FinLocker and our asset verification that Nick showed you is day one certainty approved by Fannie Mae. The income employment side is not yet Fannie Mae approved for D1C. It's in the process. And we, just for full transparency, FinLocker is the asset verification vendor. You'll see us on Fannie Mae's website. The integration we have for payroll, income and employment is a integration that FinLocker has with Argyle. And so Argyle's in the process of getting that approval with Fannie Mae as we speak. One of the cool things about the first part of the presentation that I showed you is when a user gets to a place of mortgage readiness on their journey and they're ready to start their mortgage application, we've engineered the app so that the user can securely share their data. We formatted into a MISMO Fannie 3.4, and that includes if they've linked their bank accounts as an example, that would include porting over the asset data with that exchange. Employment income is scheduled to be coming out of that experience later this year. We started the employment income side in the standalone FinVerify. Do you know of lenders, Flagstar, UWM? So the documentation, the report that Nick showed you, both for assets and income employment, is acceptable documentation from an underwriting perspective by the agencies, FHA, VA, USDA. And I know for a fact that Flagstar approved it. I got that approved before I left there a few years ago. UWM also reviewed it and determined that the reports are acceptable documentation. That answers the questions that we had in the queue. And look at that, Tony. We did well. We're 2 minutes to spare. You
are spot on. Well, I have a question.
Yes.
How do the lenders get the lockers to their clients?
Great question. So go back to the first part of the discussion. I always refer to our app as kind of our financial fitness home ownership journey experience. So our clients, Tony, are principally using FinLocker at the top of the funnel. And the best way to describe kind of the use case is anybody that they're engaging with at the top of the funnel who's not ready to apply today, they're putting down a path to invite them to download this free financial fitness app, whatever they call it. Every one of our clients brands the product something unique to them. That's the product that would be in the App Store. Our FinLocker friends and family, we played with a pun on words, called it KinLocker, K-I-N Locker, KinLocker. I did put a link in the chat for anybody that wants to test drive KinLocker. You can download that and kind of get a feel for the consumer experience. So really up funnel, it's all about, so we have a native integration with Total Expert. So there's built-in journeys today in Total Expert for first-time home buyers, for turndowns, people that are not quite ready. So those journeys, as a record in Total Expert, changes, then a specific journey would kick off inviting the user to download this app. We have loan officers that text it out to their prospects. We have a whole kind of new expansion happening in social media, where we have these financial influencers, these finfluencers, who are building audiences around financial literacy and financial fitness and education, and then coupling their education with tangible tools that the user can work with for budgeting and credit monitoring. And so they combine the telling and educating with the doing side of educating with the app. So there's a whole kind of social media strategy, and that's turned into kind of a lead gen strategy as well. We also, based on what I showed you, the property value and the tracker for that, including as well as monitoring credit, there's a use case for a kind of a customer for life experience as well.
Yeah, and I would strongly suggest you guys take advantage of the FinLocker, because one of our lender members actually assigned me a locker just because I was interested and we were having a conversation. So Kevin Peranio gave me a locker, and it's super fun. It's fun to have everything right there at your fingertips, and you really feel like you have a handle on a grip on what's going on in your life. So that's really great. One other question, just what are you guys seeing across the matrix for your customers? What seems to be top of mind for everybody?
Right now, financial literacy, financial education, kind of home ownership preparedness is definitely a theme that we're seeing across everybody that we're talking to. I think if you're paying attention, you all are, because you're all living in the mortgage world. If you're paying attention to Rocket Mortgage, they've kind of now have this ecosystem that starts with Rocket Money, which is kind of their version of financial fitness, financial wellness, that goes right into Rocket Mortgage, Rocket Homes. So they brought the whole ecosystem together. They're focused at the top of the funnel to drive, young consumers into Rocket Money. And then once they're in there, they're in the marketing engine. So what we like to say we've done at FinLocker is we've built the Rocket Money, Rocket Homes, for everybody that's not Rocket Mortgage, right? So we've got this app now, and FinLocker is not the consumer face. It's not the brand that the consumer sees. They see the brand of the lender, of the bank or the credit union that is partnered with us. So it is a fully white label solution. It's an extension of the lender's kind of brand and experience. And so we're seeing a ton of focus on early journey engagement, using financial literacy and education. Sadly, there's this massive gap in terms of inventory properties for sale. So we've got this ballooning population of first-time home buyers, and it's probably going to continue to grow. And so lenders are looking for unique ways to stay engaged with that growing population. And our tool kind of seems to link with their mission around, financial wellness and education.
Yeah, excellent. We had a question from Tom Fox. Cost. I'm guessing that you can take that. We'll get you his. If you can discuss it here, or we can take that.
Yeah, so there's two. We talked about two products today. We talked about FinVerify, which is what Nick demoed. Our main business is the financial fitness experience, but because we've wired everything to the payroll data and the banking data, we have this ability to offer these verifications. Our go white, Sean. Thank you. Let
the heckling begin.
No, that's a good one. I'll take that. So our verification reports are $12.50 per report. So one report, an asset report is $12.50. Employment is $12.50. If you order both reports and get both back, then we basically charge $20 for the bundle of assets and income. Again, that's not our main business, but for typically most of our clients that use our standalone verifications, our FinVerify, are also using our, branded financial fitness app. The fitness app, we've got a couple different models. We have an enterprise license model. Starts at $2,500 per month for the enterprise, and that provides the lender up to, I think, 1,200 plus lockers under that license. We also have the ability to do an enterprise model and then have a loan officer model underneath that. So some of our lenders want to make this product available to their loan officers, and then the loan officer basically signs up, and that I think it's right around $200 a month for the loan officer model. For a loan officer that's not part of a company that's going to sign an enterprise deal with FinLocker, we have a path for those loan officers through our relationship with Home Scout. And you can go to our FinLocker website and click on single loan officer as a dropdown, and you'll go right to our page that we talk about, the Vita app, which is for our non-enterprise loan officers.
Excellent. So no matter how you want to sign them up, sign them up.
Got you covered. Yeah. Right.
Excellent. Well, Brian, Nick, thank you guys so much. Thank you for all that you do to prepare people for the journey of home ownership is so important. And one of the things you have to do is get your arms around what you've got going on in your life. And you and the lockers definitely allow people to do that. So thank you very much. I appreciate everybody stopping by today. Thank you for being here with TMC Connect, and look for the follow-up email tomorrow in your email box. Come back anytime, and we appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Thanks.